Okay, hello and welcome. My name is Taylor Morganson and you are watching the North Texas Guitar Licks channel on YouTube. This is going to be the second part in a little two-part series about how to improvise or play solo, that kind of thing, in the key of C Lydian, more specifically over a rock backing track that I wrote for this, particularly for this exercise. In the first video we went over some scales, we went over what C Lydian is, how to derive the scale. We learned that it's a sharp fourth, it's a major scale with a sharp fourth, okay? And then here I left the chord progression of the song up for you. If you have not seen that part one yet, then please do go back and watch it so you can see some of the scales that I talk about and go over. What I didn't do, and what I'd like to do in this video, is give tips or ideas just about how to play a little more melodically, or how to come up with more meaningful and melodic ideas. In the first video you just see me shred through the scales quite a bit, and really that's to get a feel for how they sound, okay? And I would recommend that you do the same thing and try and improve your technique and all that, but ultimately what we have to do is play melodically. That is our goal, so we can do something that's a little more interesting. So here I've just given you 6 different ideas that we can use to kind of just spice up your playing a little bit and give it a little bit of direction, and maybe spawn some ideas that you can come up and with your own sort of creativity and use. So the first one, and we've done this, I did this in another video, some of the ideas will be the same, some will be different. The first idea is this idea of interval stacking. And I'll just give you an example. So here I'm going to stack fifths, but I'm going to stack fifths C, G, D, A a little differently than I did in that other F sharp mixed Lydian video. So here we just have, and that's really a broad open idea that you can riff off of, and it also has the idea of just moving stuff up an octave, which is a really easy thing to do. You can get a lot of mileage out of a simple idea. Okay, so you'll hear me do some of that, and you can add some rhythmic elements to it, like 16ths. Right, and I believe this is an idea that I either got from listening to Steve Vai or Joe Satriani, two people who I really admire and would like to meet someday. It'd be pretty cool. But honestly, I think that's where those ideas came from. So that is interval stacking, and you can do different intervals, pure fifths, just stacking these ideas like that. Okay. The second part is going to be a little more melodic. So here we have what I call interval expansion and contraction and resolution. And in music, we do have real, like in music theory, we have real names for these things and how they fit in. Oftentimes you'll hear the cambiata, appoggiatura, changing tones, neighbor tones, these kinds of things. But for today's purpose, we're just going to refer to this as an idea, an overall concept of interval expansion, contraction, and then you can also throw the idea of resolution in there. So where this works best is in a 3-note per string scale, where you have a half step and a whole step together. So in the case, in the second scale I showed in the first video, if we take the top 3 notes here, we can do stuff like this. Alright, and this gives us a really nice melodic idea that you'll see will sound good over this, and give you some sort of a direction, if not a motive that you can work with and then make variations on later. Okay, so that's expansion, contraction, and resolution. Here, 3, you can add in the scales that I gave you yesterday, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about this idea of moving the octave. And so one of the scales that I kept playing yesterday was this. same 6 notes repeated up an octave. Very easy to run through pretty fast. And this will also work over the E minor idea in the second part of the song pretty well. So again, that's just 10, 12, 14, 10, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 12, 14, 16, 12, 14, 16, and then 15, 17, 19, 15, 17. That kind of thing. Okay, next we're going to talk about arpeggios, but instead of the same old arpeggios that I gave you in the F sharp mixed Lydian idea video, where we just played our regular 5-string or 6-string or 4-string arpeggios, we're gonna change it up a little bit. And this is a variation of an idea I got on from a phenomenal guitar player in Toronto. His name's Jeff Ainsworth. He runs basementrockstar.com. I'll leave a link for his stuff and his videos. Really great teacher, really wonderful guitar player. And he has a video that he calls the Eights, where he plays this really nice little pattern. And all I did was make a variation on it. And ultimately it turns out to be a 13th arpeggio with our sharp 11. And that's this. It almost has an Eric Johnson type feel to it, but it's a really great lick, and it involves some string skipping. It involves the idea of our leaps and resolutions. So kind of combines a couple of different ideas, but it's a little different take on arpeggios other than just our regular sweep arpeggios. The second arpeggio that I've just included for today, which I think sounds nice, which is a 3-string note pattern, comes from Troy Grady's Cracking the Code, his video over Mike Stern, and what Mike Stern did on a Miles Davis album in a Phrygian type of pattern. So all I did was take the top half of that because it has this nice tritone, and that happens to be our Lydian note. Again, this is all kind of based around the Lydian note, the sharp 4, either coming to it or leaving from it. That's what gives us our Lydian sound. Okay? Number 5, we have bends, and you're going to see that I'm going to stick. And really, that's that sharp 4 going up to 5 and then coming back down. All right. So again, we're really focusing on the Lydian sound, what makes it Lydian, and again, in this scale, that is always going to be a major scale with a sharp 4. So if you take anything away from this video, remember that the Lydian mode is a major mode with a sharp 4, okay? But we're obviously dealing specifically with the key of C. If you ever have questions about how to play Lydian in another key or something, don't hesitate to send me a message or a comment. I would be more than happy to answer that for you if you ever need help with that kind of thing. And lastly, we have this idea of 3s, and really this can be done in a whole bunch of different ways. We can the idea of just the number 3 can be applied anywhere. So the first place that I tend to think about 3s is just playing a 3-note pattern on what we were talking about earlier with the half step and the whole step patterns together. Makes for a nice motive, and you can move that around in sort of a almost the edge U2 type of lick. But it works, it's cool, and often outlines a triad, and then you can hear me either really kind of emphasizing the sharp 4, the non-dominant 7, or the 3rd, something like that. Another way to interpret 3s is just cascading 3s through the pentatonic. can do them on the 3-note per string. That kind of thing, and then change the pattern up right there at the very end is what I tend to do naturally, and I think I got that honestly from studying Bach, who's the master of patterns, and then really the master of breaking patterns. So the idea of threes can be applied in lots of different places. So let's go ahead and play these over the backing track so you can get some idea of how they sound. Again, I'll leave a link for the backing track again in this video, and I'll also leave a link for part 1. So, interval stacking. Sounds pretty nice. Okay. Contraction, expansion, resolution. So. That kind of thing. Now we can use our scale over the E pentatonic. This is where this fits pretty nice. Now comes our arpeggio, the first one here. Second one. Combine them together like that. Just a regular old arpeggio. So next we will do the bends and slides. So I like to do it down in this register, this scale. There's our Lydian note. Could do it here too. Combine slides into that little arpeggio. Here we can use these kinds of bends. Lastly, we have our threes. you can use the idea of threes patterns in lots of different places. Okay, I hope that gives you some ideas about what you can do to try and create melody, to try and create motive ideas that you can then create variations on, and intersperse that with your shredding and just going through scales. It's quite a bit more interesting. Honestly, I get bored pretty quick shredding. I just like to practice the technique, and it's fun to play fast, but it's not all that musical sometimes. So, if you have any questions about any of the stuff I'm talking here, I'll go ahead and leave a screenshot of the board because I know it's probably a little difficult to see some of these numbers down here. So that'll be there. And then if you like this content, if you like what I'm doing, if you like the advice I'm offering, please subscribe to my YouTube and like my videos, and play over any of my backing tracks. I'll be more than happy to send you MP3s. If you want to request something, every now and again I get time to play every now and again from Jeff Glover sent me a request that was a lot of fun to do, and I look forward to hitting up in the future if he's got any more ideas, and I'm sure he does, about stuff that they'd like to have. If you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. We'll have more videos coming down the pipe about music theory, about how to write music composition, online materials which are free, books you can purchase which I think are really helpful in terms of just getting an idea of how people think about writing music, and really what makes good music, that kind of thing. So people I like to listen to, I'm pretty open, but if you really want to check out technique stuff, again, Troy Grady's really great, Rick Graham, Dan Mum. There's a whole lot of people out there. Again, Jeff Ainsworth, I'll leave a link for his Basement Rockstar, is really great, offers some really great tutorials on YouTube, and really there's a whole bunch of people out there that I should be naming, but you know, just the really that kind of message is about keeping a positive, open mind, and staying away from anything negative. If everybody's telling you don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, this is wrong, yeah, that may not necessarily be true, so you always have to be careful with the internet. Again, my name is Taylor Morganson. You've been watching North Texas Guitar Licks channel on YouTube, and I hope you guys have a great day, great week, and practice, practice, practice.